Hey everyone, I'm Nick.
I'm back.
And we're Envy Board Gaming. Today we are taking a look at Summer Camp by Phil Walker Harding. It's a 2 to 4 player game by Buffalo Games and Puzzles. Vic's going to teach us one and then we'll be back with our review.
Okay, we are set up here for a 2-player game of Summer Camp. The difference between a 2-player game and a different player count is you're going to have a setup where you start your camper meeples outside the track. So in different player counts, you'll start on the tiles. And these tiles can change up. Every single time you play, you're going to do a different setup. So they'll have different bonuses in different locations, not always the same. Also at the top right, the merit badge setup instructions will tell you, depending on the player count that you're playing with, how many of these participation merit badges, what the value of the participation merit badges and the all-star merit badges will be at the end of the tracks. So this game is sort of a deck builder racing type of game where you're moving along these tracks with these camper meeples, and in this game you're going to have a base pack. So there's this base pack of cards that every game will have in it, and it's got the contents of the base market, if you will, that you can spend to buy cards. That's always going to be the same in every game, but the one thing that changes is when you add these packs to the base pack. So in this example, we have the games, the adventure, and the arts and crafts packs, which give us these decks here of items to buy and tracks that will ultimately move down. But other games, you can incorporate the different packs that we have in the game, that these all come with the base game. The friendship, the cooking, outdoors, and water sports. And there is a recommended first time player setup. They'll tell you which decks that you should use. Anyway, each player is going to start with 7 of these lights out cards. They don't provide an action, as you can see, but they can be used as energy. All cards can be used as energy, but since these don't have another action, the only thing really you would use these for is energy. And you're going to spend energy to buy cards that are available here. The cost is at the bottom left of each card. So you'll see that they have different prices, and then some of them have points on the right that you'll add to your final score at the end of the game. And so you'll start the game with 3 cards, but the rest of the time you're going to draw 5. So when you draw these 3, you can spend, in this case, these 3 to buy another card that's worth 3, like the scavenger hunt. But if you had a card such as this basic one, which every player will get 7 lights out and 1 basic card from each of the pack decks. So this one tells you can move 1 space on this adventure path. So you'd look at the card color and the name of it and move 1 down here. When you move your meeple across the track, you'll take the bonus that's depicted at the top of the space that you move forward on. So when you move forward, you're going to take that bonus. If you ever moved all of your camper meeples across the bridge and onto this next tile, if you had moved all of them over here, as soon as you cross one over, you'll grab the first of these participation merit badges, and that means you were the first player to do it. You're going to get 6 points for that, and the next player that does that will get the lesser amount. If you ever brought one of your camper meeples all the way to the end, that will signal the end of the game, and all players will get to finish their actions, and everyone will get an equal amount of turns. But at the end of the game, if you reach the very end, you pick up this extra bonus of the track that you reach the end of. So you can get 10 points in the 2-player game if you get to the very end. And there is scoring at the top right of the player board there that'll tell you how many points you get depending on how far you've brought your camper meeples on each of these tracks. So ideally, the camper meeple is as far to the right as possible. The player with the most victory points, once you get finished adding up all of the bonuses for the tracks and all of the individual victory points on your cards, you'll determine who the winner is. And that's how you play Summer Camp.
All right, and we're back. Thank you, Victoria, for the teach of Summer Camp. So, you know the routine. Give us some pros.
Yeah, so right away we liked the price. Getting this game for under $8 at Target was huge. they had a big sale, so we took advantage of it. Had heard one review of the game that so Nick had done a little bit of research into it, and so we picked it up knowing that there wasn't a lot of stock available by the time we took advantage of the sale, but we were happy to add it for under $8. And when we opened it up, I was impressed by the quality of the components and the cards and all that you get for that under $8 price. So huge. I mean, you get the little camper meeples. The quality of the card stock is good. You get those all the packs that come with it, the base game, and then the packs that you can changing up the tiles. I like that the games change a bit. So I was impressed by that right off. That was my first impression of it. What about you? What were your first thoughts?
First thoughts, yeah. The fact that you get individual packs of those cards, I like that concept. I always like things organized in that way, where they have an individual. I'm going to play with this scenario, or I want to play with this certain thing. That's individualized in a game. I like the fact that they did that, and it's really impressive considering they sold it. It seems like they probably would have sold this at a loss. $7.50 was the price, so that would probably be a loss. I just don't know, because it is technically all cards, and there's those cardboard pieces. So maybe it's a wash. I don't know. But you're not really making much money, profit margin off Summer Camp when you're selling it for that price. I was impressed with some of it in that regard. I like the art in this game. I like the cards, like Vic said. There's like a matte finish on them. It looks really nice. It feels nice, the texture in your hands to play those cards. You wouldn't expect that when you pay that price for a game. You'd expect more chipping of the cards, all whiting out when you're playing it, and bending. It's a good quality game. So those are my first impressions of the game. Once I got playing it, it reminded me a little bit of El Dorado.
That's what I was thinking too, and the last time we were playing it.
Yeah, it's just a race, and it's a deck builder, so it's going to remind me of the classic, was it Quest for El Dorado? And it plays like that. It's just like more of an entry level, even more than that one already is. That one's already entry level. This one is super entry level. You can teach just to people that don't understand games very readily, that have a hard time with games, but actually want to play them anyway. It would be very easy to get into. The rules are very simple. That's the purpose for the game. That's the biggest pro for it, is an entry level game to deck building. Not only deck building, but racing. What do you think?
I think it's an introduction to the mechanisms of using things for energy, augmenting your cards with those little the snack bar tokens, getting a feel for how they could do things like that are a little bit more advanced deck building actions that maybe might lead them to want to play Dominion or other games in the future that are deck build without a track or something, right? Like, I don't think they need that track part, but the track part's still cool too, because you might think about how you want to gain cards and the cards you choose to buy. So it has a little bit to it. I think it has a good introductory concepts to it. It is a very beginner game for us playing it. I mean, I think it has a place when it comes to playing with people who are newer to the hobby, but I don't see us playing it too much, him and I, just because of the weight of the game.
Yeah, I don't think it's interesting enough for us. The weight is fine. You can have a light game, but it has to have some kind of interesting decisions. And it has very small bits and pieces interesting. If we're getting the negatives already, I'll say that the packs, they don't give as much variety as I would like, but I guess I should expect that for a beginner game. A lot of them have the same things where you can move a certain number of times. Yes, they do throw some things in there. Now you get, discard a card for snack tokens, or spend snack tokens to move somebody. But you don't have that much to work with. In a game like this, you don't have much to work with. You got snack tokens, you got moves, and you can draw cards. That's about it. I don't think there's anything else there. There's no resource management, really. There's just the snack tokens. That's all you can spend, and cards.
Yeah.
So it's very limiting for us, and I do think, like Vic said, it serves a purpose. It does. So it's going to stay, I think, for now. We'll probably introduce it to a few people, and we'll have fun in that setting where we're introducing things lighthearted.
Yeah.
We can talk while we play this. So I'm just going to move a few pieces, and so it serves that purpose, but it doesn't serve the two-player purpose for us.
Yeah. It is good that you can change the game up. The setup changes depending on the player counts. That's always a positive when they try to change up the game, at least to make it variable player count. And I think there was an attempt to make the game. I think it would have been cool to see an objective or something, more objectives to get to have your camper land on certain spots, but again, maybe they didn't want to make it that advanced. I think we'll give scores now.
Okay.
I'm going to give mine. For this one, I'm giving it a 7.3. So just for what the game is, I can't really complain about it too much. That's my score, 7.3.
Okay. My score is similar. It's a fairly boring game for our complexity level.
Yeah.
Fairly boring. But, you know, it serves a purpose. It's not a bad game by any means. It's just a boring one if you were looking for some meat in the bones. Okay. So for that score, I'm going to give it an even 7. And I think that's a fair score. I could have went way lower if it was just my taste. If it's just my taste, we're talking, I don't know, 5?
Yeah, I was going to say that too, yeah.
Yeah, if it's just my taste. But I can see what it's doing. It serves a purpose. I'm going to give it credit there. And I'm going to scale it up because people can enjoy this game if they're not heavy gamers. Or even if they're medium gamers, you know, it's still not complex enough. But if they're, you know, just getting in, it has a purpose. I'm not going to knock it for doing what it's doing. Phil Walker Harding does this a lot of light games. And I think this is a quality light game.
Yeah, and we got it for a great price. So if you could ever snag it for under 10, even, it's a bargain. I would even. What's the most you would pay for that? I don't know what that.
For the purpose, I would say this is $20. I would spend $20 in this game for the purpose of that alone. If you don't have that purpose, don't get it. Just don't.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our overview and review. If you did, please click the like, thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel for more videos. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.